So who is the future and who's the past? Dabo Swinney, Kirby Smart. I was watching Paul Finebaum because sometimes it's too entertaining in the summer, and there was a list of top 10 coaches or top 126, whatever it was, and from the Sporting News, and Paul about lost what's left of his hair when he saw that Dabo Swinney was ranked in front of Kirby Smart, and the explanation, I don't think it's a horrible one, is that Dabo Swinney's won 2 national championships and Kirby has won one so far. Forgetting that the two have played head to head, and Kirby won that game. Um, Paul was really kind of bothered by it, and I do think it's pretty clear he's got something. There's something with him as it relates to Dabo. I don't know what that's about, but he says I think Dabo Swinney is yesterday's news, and Kirby Smart is where it's at in college football today. More and more and more and more, Paul has been beating the drums about Kirby Smart and his program at Georgia. Understandably, right now, we're talking about a program that's coming off the first national championships in 4+ decades, one that's stacking up recruiting classes that are almost always in the top 3 or 2, whatever. And it seems like it's one of if there's an ascendant program in college football, it's Georgia. Um, Texas A&M, you could make the argument that they are, but they've not won anything. I mean, 4 losses, not really ascending. Um, eh, you know, so Paul can smell something, um, or he's got a very what's the word? Like he did this with Jim Harbaugh too. I mean, he was convinced that Georgia had beat Clemson the entire time heading into the 21 season, excuse me. And when George Pickens got hurt, he started, questioning if that was going to be. As it turns out, it didn't matter if George Pickens played in that game. Georgia should have won that game something like 20-3. They won it 10-3 instead. Um, but it is interesting to, I am very curious about the 22 season and the ACC and Clemson because they for so long have been very good, right? And they dominated that league. And last year they had a hard time. I mean, their toughness got them to 10 wins because it was not the people on the field. They did not play well, and they still have quarterback problems. And that doesn't just get figured out. Deshaun Watson's first season, I think they lost 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can correct me. But um, and one of those games was to Georgia, by the way. But it was it is an interesting thing to listen to him talk about Georgia. They lost 3 games that first season that Deshaun was there. It is interesting to listen to them talk about Georgia and Clemson, and sort of assuming that one is ascendant and the other one is not. It's hard to say Clemson's ascending because they have taken they win that championship in 18, losing the championship game in 19, getting blown out, and then you get blown out in the semifinals, and then you don't even make it to the playoff. Clearly they're going backwards. Um, but they're not nothing. But it sure seems like he feels that way. I don't know why. We've got a big announcement about DAWGSTRUCTION. We are starting. We are printing right now. You can see it on the screen. Nope, no, you cannot see it on the screen quite yet, can you? Now you can. We've got a season preview. If you buy DAWGSTRUCTION today, you will get the season preview when it gets printed, which is going to be in a couple of weeks here. So if you buy DAWGSTRUCTION, I will be sending you this preview edition of the 2022 season with Brock Bowers on the cover there. Some stories about Stetson Bennett, Kendall Milton, the passing attack of the Dogs, Kirby Smart, 48 pages, stuff you cannot get anywhere else. You can buy just the preview If you're interested in that, it's $15, $14.99. If you are interested in getting DAWGSTRUCTION, when you order DAWGSTRUCTION, you will be getting the magazine in there. No questions asked. It's just going to be in the shipping with it. So I would encourage everybody who has not yet gotten it and is listening to go ahead and get DAWGSTRUCTION today, and you will get get the magazine with it. It's an awesome deal. It's like getting the magazine. Excuse me. It's like getting DAWGSTRUCTION for $15 off. Both of these are really awesome publications, if I do say so myself. So get that right now. The link is below. I'm going to link to both, just the magazine as well as DAWGSTRUCTION. And again, if you order DAWGSTRUCTION, you'll get the magazine. If you just want the magazine, that's awesome. In both cases, this is going to get sent out near the end of June. I don't know when the printing is going to conclude for the magazine, so but I wanted to make y'all aware of it now because I know there are, I saw Lindy's on the shelf, I saw Atham on the shelf. They're giving you 2 pages about Georgia, y'all. I'm giving you 48. You're paying the same price for both of them, so get the dogs, okay? Get Dog Post today. It is too bad that Kirby and Dabo are not facing one another this fall on the field. That would be a lot of fun. But uh, Paul's insistence that Georgia is. Let me read the quote exactly so that I don't get it wrong. I think Dabo Swinney is yesterday's news. I can't argue with that necessarily. I'm not saying he's not today's news. Okay, that's me saying that. And he goes on to say, okay, he says, I think Dabo Swinney is yesterday's news. I think Kirby Smart is where it's at in college football today. So Paul, who is certainly well connected, and a lot of y'all, I get it. You don't like Paul Finebaum, okay? But do you agree with that? Do you think it's right to say that Kirby is where it's at in today's college football? I mean, I would still argue for Nick Saban at the time being, but the more I um, I think Georgia should be winning under Kirby Smart. I think Georgia has underachieved for decades. I don't think they've necessarily underachieved with Kirby Smart, but I do think you should have 2 national championships right now, not just one. I think he had an opportunity to win one in 17. I think he had an opportunity to win one in 18. So really, he's 1 for 2. But I think 1 for 3 would be one way to look at. And I'm not. That sounds like I'm like putting him down or something like that. No, that's not it at all. That means to me, he had a legitimate chance to win the national championship in 3 of his 6 seasons, and he won one of them. I don't know where this is coming out on a Sunday night, but you watch the Golden State Warriors. It's tough to win championships, even being very good, even being elite. You watch the Bulls with Michael Jordan in '95, Tampa Bay, or with Tom Brady, anybody with Tom Brady, the Patriots. You're only going to get so many chances at a championship, and you got to win as many as you can. I think Georgia will win more. And I know all of y'all, Nelly and negative Nancy's and full blown Larry Munson's out there just can't see it. But I'm here to tell you that Georgia's got everything they need, and they have the right coach. He is an imperfect coach. He is an imperfect human being, but he's the right coach at Georgia right now. Um, will that continue? I don't know. And that's the other, I think, criticism Paul is correctly lobbying at Dabo. Dabo is not adjusting with the times. Okay, Nick at Alabama definitely is. Kirby at Georgia is, but the transfer portal has uh, I would say negatively affected Clemson because they're not taking advantage of it. And anybody who transfers out, obviously, you're hurting from that. Um, and I think NIL is a real challenge just for Clemson, no matter the sport. I think it's a challenging situation. People behind the scenes, more than a couple people, have said to me that is a very challenging situation for Clemson. Um, yeah, I mean it's problematic. I mean people talk about Miami and what they can do. They may be the ascendant program in the ACC. But NIL will settle itself down, and I think people are saying, "Hey, you got to embrace it, man. You have to go forward with the landscape that is college football right now, and that involves NIL. The NIL is not going away. I do not talk about it a lot because there's two reasons. Number one, I'm not sure, even though I have a background in athletics as well as business, I'm not sure I fully understand the ramification of it yet. I think if people, there are a lot of people talk like they do. I'm not sure I fully get it yet, in terms of what the truth is behind it. I do understand markets, and I understand that Clemson is in a smaller market. It is one of two schools in one of the smallest states in the country, so it's not in a very big media market. That's a problem for them. But um, I also don't think that has to be the way that you play it. If this were only about markets, we would see Georgia, Ohio State, well, Georgia, Texas, and USC would dominate the future. I'm not sure I'm ready to believe that completely either. So, you know, what the future holds in our sport um, is still being just figured out. This is not the '90s where things had kind of settled down, and you had a run from 90 whatever to 2008, basically, where college football was very settled in many ways. We have hit a landscape now where three programs have played for the national championship in the last 2 years, and that's it, not four. We have settled into a situation where it feels like those three programs are in good position to win more national championships than anybody else in the near future. Um, but I don't. It's not guaranteed, and I think that's the part that still trying to figure out. I do think 22 as a season is one reason why we did the preview. I do think that 22 is an important season in the future of college football. If you win now and you're Georgia, uh, that's really saying something. I mean, I don't know if Georgia should get back to the playoff in air quotes, but I think they certainly should get back to Atlanta. And the question is, if they get to Atlanta undefeated and lose, they will be in the playoff, unless something really strange has happened. So I think it is time for Georgia to take advantage of its natural resources, its head coach's ability, and its players' capabilities to string together as many championship opportunities as possible. Clemson is in a different position. They have a great situation with the ACC, but they're not the power they were. I mean, they're not. And yeah, I don't know what Paul's deal is with Dabo, or if he's just calling it like he sees it. Dabo can be a bit of a prick, if we're being honest, about a lot of different stuff. Not that Kirby can't, but I think the way they're difficult is not exactly the same way. And Dabo's is pretty indignant, and both of them can be unnecessary at times. There are people that just don't like Dabo, and it's what it is. There's plenty of people that don't like Kirby, but for some reason, I think people have gotten when you talk behind the scenes to folks, they've kind of had enough. And it's going to be up to Dabo to get Clemson going again, and we'll see if that's the case. I don't know. I think Georgia is in very good position, but we'll see. Make sure you're checking out DAWGSTRUCTION. If you get DAWGSTRUCTION today, you will get the magazine. Now, it takes a little bit of time for me to get those out because the magazine is not done printing. But order DAWGSTRUCTION today, and it will be out to you by the end of the month. Both of them. Take advantage now.